Hello, welcome. Today we are going to be reading a wintry story. We are going to be reading Peppa's Frosty Fairy Tale. This is another Peppa Pig story, and we have George with us too. Are you ready to begin? We have a snowman on the front. Amazing. Peppa's Frosty Fairy Tale. Ooh, what room do you think we start in? I can see a fridge and a cooker. I think we're in the kitchen. Once upon a time, it was a cold and quiet winter's day. Peppa and George were playing indoors and making lots of noise. Peppa and George. Peppa, George, called Mummy Pig, why don't you look in your box of books and pick a nice story to read? Reading just like us now. Peppa and George searched through the box and pulled out their favourite books. They giggled with excitement as they looked through the pages. Then Peppa danced all over the living room, pretending she was in a fairy tale. A snowman, cheered George, holding his favourite book. Peppa and George loved stories. So you have Peppa dancing in her living room, and you have George finding his favourite book with a snowman on the front. Someone's arrived. That evening, Granny and Grandpa Pig came over to stay the night. Hello, Granny and Grandpa, said Peppa and George. Hello, little ones, said Granny Pig, giving them both a big hug. We have Granny Pig and Grandpa Pig. They are dressed in very warm clothes. They have hats, scarves, gloves. It must be very cold outside. It's time for bed now, said Mummy Pig. Please, can Granny and Grandpa tell us a bedtime story? Asked Peppa. Of course, Peppa, said Granny Pig. We'd love to. What room do you think they're in now? They've got their bunk beds, their toys. I think they're in their bedroom. Once Peppa and George were tucked up in bed, Grandpa Pig showed them a beautiful snow globe. Then he began to tell a story. Once upon a time, he said, there was a cold and magical place called Frosty Kingdom. Sounds like it's going to be a good story. How do you get to Frosty Kingdom? Asked Peppa. First, you have to travel over the snowy hills, said Grandpa Pig. Then you journey through the deep dark forest, and finally you must climb a huge mountain until you reach the winter castle at the very, very top. I bet the sugar plum fairy lives there, and a snow queen, said Peppa. Snowman, said George. Peppa and George loved Grandpa Pig's story. I wish we could go to Frosty Kingdom too, said Peppa, as she and George drifted off to sleep. I want to go to Frosty Kingdom too. Do you think they're going to go? Let's find out. Look at all the snow. Who else do you see down here? Let's see who they are. In the morning, Peppa and George woke up to the sound of jingling bells. They peered through the window to find out where the noise was coming from. It's snowing, gasped Peppa, and Granny and Grandpa are outside with a sleigh and 3 reindeer. 1, 2, 3. This is very exciting. I wonder where they're going to go. Just then, Mummy and Daddy Pig came out into the bedroom. Granny and Grandpa are taking us all on an adventure, said Mummy Pig. We're going to the Frosty Kingdom. Frosty Kingdom was in Grandpa's story, said Peppa. We'll be needing these, said Mummy Pig, holding out winter coats and woolly jumpers. We're travelling by sleigh. Hooray! Cheered Peppa and George, jumping up and down. They're jumping up and down because they're really excited. They're going to Frosty Kingdom and they're travelling on the sleigh. Everyone climbed into the sleigh and they set off. Which way is Frosty Kingdom? Asked Daddy Pig. Grandpa Pig pointed to in the distance. First, you have to travel over the snowy hills, he began. Then you journey through the deep, dark forest, said Peppa. Finally, you must climb up a huge mountain until you reach the winter castle at the very top. That's right, Peppa, said Grandpa Pig. They're all in the sleigh, being pulled by the 3 reindeer on their way to the Frosty Kingdom. Can you see who's here ice skating? Is that a penguin? I think so. After they went over the snowy hills and through the deep, dark forest, they started to climb the huge mountain. Are we nearly there yet? Asked Peppa. Suddenly, George saw something move. Snowman, he squelched. George loves snowmen. So here he can see a snowman. He's really happy. Everyone turned to see a snowman waving at them. Hello, said Peppa. We are on our way to the Frosty Kingdom. Peppa and George waved goodbye and the reindeer pulled the sleigh further up the mountain on their way to Frosty Kingdom. Up the mountain they climbed, up and up and up, until the sleigh reached a clearing and the reindeers stopped. Are we nearly there now? Asked Peppa. I can't see the magical winter castle. I think we may be lost, said Grandpa Pig. I'm sure it was this way. Oh no, Peppa sighed. What are we going to do? If only there was someone here to help, said Grandpa Pig. They're a bit lost at the moment. What way do they go? Will someone help them? Hello, Peppa and George, a voice said. Look, it's Miss Rabbit, said Peppa. Actually, Peppa, I'm the Sugar Plum Fairy, said Miss Rabbit. You're on the right path. Frosty Kingdom is further up the mountain. This is so magical, cried Peppa. So we have the Sugar Plum Fairy, and look who's behind the Sugar Plum Fairy. We have a hedgehog, and we have a robin. The sleigh climbed higher once more and was nearly at the top of the mountain when, welcome to Mr. Fox's official Frosty Kingdom shop, said Mr. Fox. Everyone hopped off the sleigh to take a quick look around. Daddy Pig loaded up his basket with sponges, telephones and wool. I'm sure these will come in handy at Frosty Kingdom, he said. Everyone piled back onto the sleigh and they set off again. So they stopped to do a bit of shopping at Mr. Fox's official Frosty Kingdom shop. You can buy all sorts here. You have a barbecue, you have a clock, a violin, some telephones, bags, a crown, lots of goodies. Finally, they arrived at Frosty Kingdom. We're here, announced Grandpa Pig. Peppa saw something sparkling up ahead. As they got nearer, she gasped. It's the winter castle, and there's the Snow Queen. Look, it's Miss... Hello everyone, interrupted Miss Rabbit. I'm the Snow Queen. Welcome to Frosty Kingdom. Peppa and George waved and giggled excitedly. Everyone here looks really, really happy. They're at the Frosty Kingdom and they're at the Winter Castle and they've met the Snow Queen. And behind the Snow Queen, we have a little robin. It looks magical. I wish we could stay here, said Peppa. Peppa, this is our cabin, said Grandpa Pig. We're going to stay here for the night. They're having a sleepover in the cabin. Whoa, cried Peppa. This is the best Frosty Fairytale adventure ever. Thank you, Granny and Grandpa. Ho ho, you're most welcome, said Grandpa Pig, smiling. Everyone looks so happy. They're having so much fun. And they get to have a sleepover and stay in the cabin with a robin, another one, lots of snow, trees, and they have fairy lights too. Peppa and George raced inside the cabin and looked around excitedly. It's like we're in your story, cried Peppa. Maybe we are, said Grandpa Pig, laughing. Peppa loved Frosty fairy tales. Everyone loved Frosty fairy tales. Can you see outside we have a snowman and the Snow Queen? That was a magical story. I absolutely loved it. I want to go on a Frosty fairy tale. Maybe I will.